So far, we've used int main void to start our programs. Now this word void keyword in particular is indicating that our program takes no arguments. So what if we want to write programs that take input right from the command line, or words right after doing the / and the name of our program to run the program right there in the terminal? Well, for example, we might run make hello, and in our program we might have get string, and I might type Brian. But what if we can write /hello, and instead of running the get string, we just do /hello space Brian, and then it prints out hello Brian. Well, that second word there is an argument to our program. Well, it turns out we can start our program with this: int main int argc, comma, string argv, bracket bracket, instead of int main void. So let's write a program using this and see what happens. We'll use our curly braces just as normal, and I'm going to go ahead and save this, and we're going to call this one argv. We'll call this one argv0.c. I'll put it in my chapter 2 examples folder. All right, and I'm actually going to start with an if statement. So we'll make argv0, and then we'll run argv0. And when I run it alone, I get hello world, such as on line 12. But what if I add something else here at the command line? Now I get hello Brian. Now our program receives two arguments. The first is an integer named argc, as in argument count. That tells us how many arguments we've got. The second is an array or list of strings called argv, as in argument vector. Now this is a list of strings, and we know that a string is actually an array, so this is really an array of arrays. But we'll talk about that in a few minutes. This list of strings can be accessed with the same syntax as we do for characters in a string, since a string is really just an array of characters like argv0. So this program, when we run it, returns something like this: hello Brian, when I write /argv0 Brian. We used argv1 here on line 8 because argv0 is always the first thing we put in, which is the name of the program that we try to run with the /. Then argv1 would be the next argument or the next string in the line. When we run just argv0, argc pass to our program will be 1. So it will just say hello world, meaning there will only be one argument. So let's see how we can iterate over an array. We'll start a new file. We'll call this argv1. I just get argv1, but if I do run argv1 Brian, I get in each line argv1 then Brian. I can continue doing this by adding more, and I'm iterating through all of the arguments or all of the strings that are in this array of strings until I get I is the same as whatever argc is, the character count or the count of arguments. So this program prints out each argument or string in argv as it goes through the indexes from 0 to argc, which tells us how many strings are in argv. Well, we can be even cooler since we know that argv is an array of strings and each string is an array of characters. We can directly access characters from argv. Let's try a new program. When we run argv2, we get argv2, each letter on a separate line. If we run this again and type Brian, we'll have the same thing. argv2, B-R-I-A-N, on each letter on its own line. So the outer for loop on line 8 here with I is iterating over each string in argv. The inner for loop with J looks at argv I, the first string, and for each character in it prints it on a new line, things we've already done before. Then the inner loop repeats itself for the next string. With argv I, J, down here on line 13, we can get an individual character in argv. So what about main's output? Well, it turns out main also returns some value by default. When a program exits successfully, it returns a number 0 to indicate as much. A 0 number, on the other hand, is used to represent an error, or a non-zero number, on the other hand, is used to represent an arrow. So 0 meaning we had 0 errors. Of course, we want to see this firsthand. So let's write another one. All right. So if I type argv3 Brian, you see hello Brian. If I type argv3, I get the line missing command line argument. Now, if the program doesn't get a command line argument, the program will quit by returning and with the value of 1. Otherwise, we'll print the argument and explicitly return the value of 0 as we exit. We can see the exit code in the terminal like this. Using the command echo, $, and a question mark. And it tells us here that in our last version we had an exit code of the 0. But what if we did this arg3, it runs missing command line, then let's go ahead and run the echo, and we have an exit of 1. The question mark is a magic symbol for the previous program's exit code, and echo is a command line program that just prints out values. We might not look for this often, but debuggers and other programs might look for it to determine if there were any errors. So in this way, other than 0, you can come up with an exit code or any number in C that you would like to represent any particular error. So different codes could mean to you, the programmer, a different type of error, but that's something you would decide for yourself. Now don't forget, an array is a chunk of continuous memory, with each of the elements in sign contiguous back to back to back. And these elements are generally the same data type, as we commonly have arrays of characters or integers. We'll need this construct to solve more complex problems like sorting and searching. Whew, alright, more fun to come on that later. So your next programming problem is old friends. So the too long didn't read is you're going to improve upon older problems, such as hello, where you're going to use a command line argument to put in a name, could be Milo, could be Brian, could be Chris, and then it will return hello, Brian, Milo, Brian, Chris. You'll run Fahrenheit and you'll put in the number that you would like to convert from Celsius, and it'll print out the Fahrenheit grade, and then you will run pennies, and in this case you will put two additional arguments, how many days per month and how many pennies on the first day, and it will return the number of pennies. So you can try using your own code that you used before, or go to the specification, and in the specification you will see that you can download friends.zip right from the prompt using this command wget http and so on and so forth. If you have trouble when you try to submit, try downloading these implementations. They're the actual staff created versions of the programs, and you can see how they did it at CS50 at Harvard. Go ahead and unzip Friends and make sure that it stays in a directory under Chapter 2 called Friends, and then you'll see Fahrenheit, hello, and pennies. Go ahead and watch this short video on command line arguments so you can really solidify your understanding of them, and then go ahead and work hello again. Afterward, you'll write Fahrenheit and then pennies. Be sure to read the specifications very carefully. When you're done, you'll see that you have hello.c, Fahrenheit.c, and pennies.c, and make sure that you name them correctly, and they will be in your workspace chapter 2/friends folder. And if they're not in that, you're going to want to move them into that folder using the mv command or just the drag and drop in CS50's IDE left-hand browser window. To submit these, of course, you submit 50 and CS50/2017/AP/friends hello, same thing Fahrenheit, and same thing pennies. This is Old Friends.